and mug you. What? What if your government tries to throw you in a can? What? You're gonna want a shotgun. Oh. What? An automatic rifle. And a lot of ammo. Good.
We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They'll burn you out like a Waco. They'll stick your ass in a can. 10 footy cops in riot gear, gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, buy a gun, buy a gun, buy a gun, buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They gave your money to the banksters. They stole your pension funds. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat. You gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat.
In the street, we shall find out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Primer Time on UCY.tv. My name is Michael. I am an angry everything that the media calls everybody, and Nick's out on vacation tonight, so I got the wonderful one and only Mr. X as a guest tonight.
Can you hear me?
You are wonderful, Mr. X. Come through.
Are we coming through? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You are fine. Loud and clear, 5x5. We have all
Am I getting through? Am I getting through?
All agencies have you 5x5.
Okay, I heard you the first time. I just want to maintain the quality of this program.
Thank you for doing it for the people.
You got it, man. I'm here for you.
So how do you feel about the situation? We are now 2 weeks into the Trump apocalypse.
Well, I'm going to stock up on lots of beer salts to kick off the first 100 days.
I've heard that the beer salts really are good for curing the PMS.
It's got to help. It's got to help, man.
So, we got like 50, 55, 58 days before he steps up to the throne and runs this horse into the ground.
Yeah, before he gets the keys. Yeah, you bet. I think it's going to fly by.
The 58 days, yeah. I think 2017 gonna be ugly. Gonna be ugly.
Yeah, they don't even have time to do reruns. It's gonna fly by, and we're gonna finally see what he's actually willing to do.
I think he's a test. I don't know if you happen to catch this morning. He said that he was not going to prosecute Hillary. He didn't want to hurt her, and
right.
and those are his words. And what happened to lock her up? Lock her up.
Right before I get the keys to your car, I'm going to tell you I'm stopping at every stop sign, and I'm not going to speed at all.
Are you going to? Please don't smoke in the car either.
I won't smoke. I promise I'm not going to smoke in the car.
Yeah, I got a feeling that's what we just gave. We just gave the keys to like a 17-year-old kid.
He's going to say anything he's got to say to get his keys in his hot little hand. And if you don't have that little hub device plugged into the dash, there'll be no controlling him.
I don't think there's any controlling him because, like any 17-year-old kid, he can hack that crap. So
true. And Trump can afford to hire somebody to hack it for him.
He'll hire the hugest hackers anywhere.
Right.
You'll be so.
Hey,
he'll
man,
hire
you
his
know,
hackers
gotta make
so good,
jobs.
you'll be sick of hackers. Yeah, yeah. And then we're gonna get a wall.
Right.
Big old stucco monstrosity. I don't know.
I think
So,
more of that wall is going to happen than what people think.
Do you what do you see in your area? People's take on this.
Well, let's see. We had like one protester marching down the street at 2 a.m. And everybody else that might have been supportive of the opposition is more or less embarrassed. And the rest of them are pretty gung-ho right now. I think they're still living in the glory.
I think there's a whole lot of buzz to be had still from it. I'll tell you, I ended up going to a gun show this weekend, and I was very surprised by it. I expected in the wake of a Trump victory for there to be a marked decrease in the demand, and this gun show was packed and people were buying, and there was a lot of activity at this show, but there didn't seem to be this, I guess, the same feeling of dread that you would have at a show that would occur right around the time of a Feinstein ban. You know, I mean,
right? But you mean the impending doom?
Right. And prices were down on the FFL holders table, but the private sale tables, they still were commanding the same prices that they were before. And I'll tell you,
right?
There was a lot of handguns moving. There was a lot of handguns moving, and a lot of wives getting handguns.
Sounds racist.
I would think it'd be more misogynist than, promoting the rape culture. But yeah, whatever.
Yeah, hey, whatever cards you want to play, we're here to play cards.
That's right. I haven't seen any protesters, but of course, I live in Texas, so this is kind of not the protesting area. This show, though, I'm kind of befuddled by it. I'll tell you what, I did see something that you might be a little bit fond of was the 5.7 was right at about $30 a box. Ammunition prices seem to be about double what they were in the store. And I don't think the ammunition was moving at those prices.
Right.
There was something I did find to be interesting. There's a lot of guys walking around with the SKSs. And I mean, like the ones that have been, sort of bubbled into a black plastic tactical stock, either a folder or one of them AR-15 looking collapsible ones.
Yeah, they got one that's it looks like a skeleton kind of deal. I had one for a while.
Right. Yeah, that's actually, I used to have one of those on a 22.
Yeah, I had one of those on 22 also, actually.
Yeah, that's actually kind of neat. You can, like, if you wanted to, you could take a couple of those little army, I think they're the compass pouch for, the old web gear. And you can actually zip tie them things onto there, and you can carry like 4 extra 10-round magazines on the rifle.
Yeah, but it was all pre-rail stuff.
Oh, yeah. Now everything's got a rail. Everything has a rail.
It's rails. If it don't have 3 rails, you're not selling it.
I saw high points with a laser on them. High point with a laser was $259. High point without a laser was $179.
Really?
That was brand new. There was a couple of Browning high powers there that I saw that I really liked, but
those high points, they're big and lunky and clunky and heavy. But damn it, man, if you want to burn up some ammunition, they just keep firing.
They work, and I think the big problem with them, I mean, aside from like their appearance in this like glamour driven society, is that they don't have.
Well, it looks like a fat Glock.
It looks like Glock's retarded brother is what it looks like. Yeah, but
Yeah, all in the same family. Yeah.
but the big problem with those things is I don't think they have good quality control in their magazines, and I think that's where most of the problems that people speak about with those guns come from is poor magazines. So I think you got to be like really, really slick about those mags on those and check them out and run them. But I mean, that's probably the best viable low price defense option. And I mean, hell, they make them in 380, 9mm, 40 cal, and 45.
Right. For the money, a guy, if he has to have something, and besides that, if you happen to lose it, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly. And I'm kind of a fan of the lower price stuff for certain applications like that, like something that I would keep in a truck. I don't necessarily want that to be like a T-Series high power.
Right.
I'd like that to be something along the lines of a high point, because a high point is functional. I do not want
high point, SKS, an old 3030.
Right. Well, hell, an old 3030 is an investment now. All the old.
Well, yeah, I guess so, huh?
Yeah, those are going for a minimum of $450 now, and I mean that's with no scope or anything, no niced up, and probably well worn and may have rust on it. It's $450. Anything that's good is $600. The SKSs were going for $650 on tables. So, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was. I think the SKS and the AK-47 clones are very, very popular down here, and we have a different demographic that kind of like lends itself.
And what model is it though? What model of or what run?
Oh, these were mostly Norinkos that I saw SKSs. But everybody had bubbled it up, had put it into the black tactical stock, or had removed the original 10-round magazine that came with it, put on that fucking monstrous portion 30-round magazine. I did see that SKS stripper clips were going for like $1 a piece.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, see, here's the beauty of having a 30-round mag, though. If you put a 30-round mag in it, you don't change it out in battle. You're looking to replenish it with clips.
I like the 10-round magazine because it's 100% reliable, and honestly, I think if a guy knows exactly what he's doing with them stripper clips, like maybe puts in 150 rounds practice, I think he's faster than changing a magazine.
Right, but what you want to consider, though, with like one of those banana clips on an SKS is once you get down to halfway, you can throw a strip in it and then keep after what you're doing. And when you get down a little farther and you get a chance to take a quick break, you throw another strip in it. You might not always have 30 rounds in it, but you'll always have 15 to 25.
Right. I'm just not
now, the bummer about them, though, is that, in my opinion, the banana clip's getting away everything.
It takes away the usefulness, and I kind of think that the pistol grip stocks take away from the usefulness of that rifle.
Right.
And then I'm not a fan of Tapco. I think every time somebody buys something Tapco, Jesus steps on a baby puppy. Tapco is horrible, bad stuff, and every one of those magazines for the SKS, that's a great big extendo like that with the duckbill on it is a Tapco, and no, Tapco is bad. I mean, I'd say that Tapco is even worse than Pro Mag, and Pro Mag stands for please remember our magazines are garbage.
Okay.
I think Pro Mag, the only Pro Mag I would trust is if I had like a Ruger P95 series, one of them P series pistols. I think they made those just as good as Ruger quality, but I wouldn't have a Pro Mag for nothing else. I've seen too many of them things, just, split feed lips, after just normal running a pistol, like, three feelings. And yeah, No, I'd rather pay double and never cry than
So what makes them marketable? Their availability?
They're cheap, dude. They're half the price of anybody else's magazine. And
Right. Well,
and honestly, most people who buy them, they're using it so they can go to the range. They're not actually thinking about serious use on this. And I think their failure rate is just it's more than I'm comfortable with in my experience. I prefer Metgar magazines for what I use.
all right, I'm running into a problem here.
Tell me.
I don't know how to text and stay on the phone at the same time. And I've got way too much beer salts and not near enough beer. So I'll be back in 2 minutes.
That'll work. So this show had less flea market and swap meet stuff that I truly thought it was going to be half or at least 40% flea market and Tupperware and T-shirts and bumper stickers and crap like that, not necessarily firearms related stuff. And it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. There was a decent amount of the flea market and not necessarily firearm stuff, but it wasn't like the guy selling turtles or anything like I've seen it at other very slow shows. The beef jerky concession has been reduced to 2, and not really happy with the beef jerky I got this last time.
Is this stuff that they're making right there, or they're importing it?
Yeah. I mean, they make it and bring it in. It's all local stuff. Within. I know one of the guys is actually from about 20 miles away from me down the highway, and another one, I think they're from the Austin area, and I'd much rather have Bubba's from Port O'Connor's beef jerky than the lady who made the other one. It I don't know if it was. It's not that it tasted bad. It just had the texture was wrong. It was like almost like it was like filled with air, and I wasn't necessarily pleased with it. But what are you going to do?
Right. Well, the thing is, if it's not plant made, then there could be variations in the batch.
Right. And maybe I just got a bad piece.
Right.
But
some of that stuff, once you like it, you got to go back and buy as much of it as you can to get all of that batch that you like.
I'll tell you, the guy who makes Bubba, who makes it down there in Port O'Connor, I've got a couple friends who hunt fairly religiously. They've got 40, 50 acres of land, and they will take him 300 pounds of meat, come back with a bunch of jerky and sausage and, well, basically jerky and sausage and the beef sticks. And it's just incredible. I can as much of it as you can. The beef sticks are just wicked. Turn off your radio.
My radio ain't on.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
It might be the van outside.
So, you've got experience with a highly interesting cartridge, the 5.7.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you, the way I feel is purely circumstantial. It's more than it's expensive to obtain, but I don't have to obtain any. You see what I mean?
I understand that. I completely did. I understand.
So
that.
I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with it in the now.
But in the future,
7,000-8,000 rounds down the road, I'm probably not so comfortable with it.
Right. And that's one of those items that tends to move when there's a panic, as we've seen in the last 2 panics. We got SLC calling in from the Great Pacific Northwest. What's going on, man? maybe not.
Is he managing the riots?
I think he was chief constructor of the Mazel Tov cocktails that were being thrown. I'll tell you what. On the
Can you hear me, Jules?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm not live.
Yeah, you're live.
I can't hear you though.
Well, interesting.
Then why do you keep answering him?
I have no sound through my phone. I can talk to you, I guess. Okay.
I don't know. One of the wonderful problems of live radio. So, in reference to like the availability of the ammo and the specialty of certain types of that ammo, I did run across something interesting at the show, and it was a guy who was selling stripper clips of military XM855.
I was going to ask a question about this advertisement I saw for a 22 caliber rimfire reloading kit. That was my question.
The 22 caliber rimfire reloading kit is dangerous. Absolutely something I would kind of stay away from in a way that it's not going to be functional or perform how you think it's going to perform. I've not seen people who've had good results with that. There are a couple videos of it on YouTube, and it looks like it's far more work than it's worth.
Oh boy.
So, I don't know if that...
you can't hear a thing we're saying.
Yeah, this is sort of difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Have you tried it? Because I've read.
No, I've not tried it.
He's cutting out there.
Well, this is what they advertise it as, is a survival thing, just in case you need to reload your 22s.
Oh, okay. So,
isn't that funny?
So let's think about this. In case you need to reload your 22.
I can now. I just actually plugged in my headphone onto one ear, so I'm talking on.
Well, it's the technical issues that usually get us. So I think the
when I saw those kits, and I did look at them a little bit. If it's something that a guy is going to feel more comfortable having and hoping he never has to use, it probably wouldn't hurt to put it on the shelf. It really wouldn't. But as far as sitting there and trying making gopher ammo on a Sunday with the kids, I'm going to do something else.
I kind of have a feeling, and I think it's almost I wouldn't necessarily say it's an evil product, but it's going to be one of those ones that has like great disappointment for the user when they go to actually need to use that, and it's not going to work as expected.
Right.
I think at that point, yeah, you'd almost be better off buying as much 22 as you could and saving it, stashing it in places.
I just want to say for the record, I don't have a problem with buying something to save it for never.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that.
I'm kind of in that boat. I can actually kind of give like a real life experience. I had bought a bunch of Mountain House food to save for never, and
right.
I hit a little rough patch, and I'll tell you what, that stuff came in handy, and it wasn't the greatest stuff in the world, but I'll tell you what, it fit the bill, and I'm still here today, and I don't have any kind of like health problem from it. So, and I ate it for probably about 2 months. So
right, and you know what? That's what I call a personal apocalypse.
Oh yeah, it was all coming down at that time. Fire and brimstone.
You never know. But you never know what's going to hit you. You don't.
Yeah, I was really glad I had the stuff, to be honest with you. So, like, go ahead and stock up on that dehydrated and freeze-dried granola. It actually kind of helps if it comes down to it. I mean, it was, yeah, that was a little rough patch there, and yeah, I'm kind of glad I'm past that. But you know,
of course,
keep your eyes open for it to hit again in the future. So I'll tell you what, of those Mountain House foods, I'd like to give a shout out to the lasagna and to the spaghetti and to the beef stew and the chicken stew. Those 4 were the best, and I could probably.
Okay, I'm gonna buy the $80 tool. All right, it's only $80. I'll save it for never. I'm gonna collect 22 brass.
Hey, Zonin!
Hunting 22 brass, boy. That's. I think that would get tiring after a while.
Yeah, but when the snow is 4 feet deep and you're sitting by the fire and it's like 32 below zero, you got nothing better to do.
I don't think I would actually reload that sitting by the fire. As I understand that stuff, that's a wet primer.
Yeah, it is.
You have to. I think you activate that primer with you get it wet with some. I think it's I want to say it's an ammonia, and once it becomes like moist and like into a paste, that shit's like way dangerous. Like way dangerous. Like you don't want to have any kind of spark near you.
So, in other words, what I'm interpreting, what I'm getting out of this is it's something you should have your brother-in-law do.
Yeah, the brother-in-law that owes you money. Because, you ain't never going to see that anyways.
Right.
So, at this show, there was a guy who had XM855A1 EPR rounds. Now, what that is the military's new green ammunition that had the enhanced penetrator bullet on it. And a lot of reviews on that ammo are not necessarily favorable. The bullet tends to have a problem with heat, as in like it loses its stability in temperatures above like 90 degrees or something. And it's really pushed because of its superior armor penetrating ability. I guess it's rather than having a steel core, it still has a steel core, but it's also got like a penetrator tip on it. This guy was selling it for $4 a piece on stripper clips at 10, and of course you have to buy it.
My. 10. Really?
So $40 a clip for that stuff, and you figure you need 3 to fill a magazine. So that's $100.
How many? What caliber was that?
That's 5.56.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I don't know. I always kind of keep my eyeball open for interesting ammunition. I've seen in 7.62 by 5.1, I've seen the black tip bullets, which are armor piercing incendiary, and so they will penetrate, I don't know, 2 inches of steel or something like that, and then set everything on fire on the other side. And I usually see those for about 10 a piece, and I figure one day if I come across them, I'd pick up like a clip of 10 of them, and that'd be kind of like a nice incentive to pick up a 308 bolt action rifle.
Right.
But other than that, I don't have any incentive to pick up a 308 bolt action rifle because I have no incentive to buy 308. It's far too expensive. Like it was, I think it was $179 for 250 rounds of bulk stuff, and it wasn't necessarily bulk stuff that I would be happy with. I think it was Independence, and I believe that's made in Israel. And well, seriously, fuck Israel. I don't want to give them no fucking money at all. So Yeah, I'll talk shit about that ammo. I think it's dirty and it smells like cat piss.
All right.
So, yeah, but I mean, like, stuff that's made in Lake City that's got those specialty rounds attached to it, man, that stuff gets really pricey. I did see that there was a lot of 50 caliber ammo, and it was, I believe it was American Eagle brand 50 cal, and strangely enough, it's the exact same box that they sell at Walmart, and I believe it's an exclusive run for Walmart, and Walmart sells it for, I believe it's $60 for a box of 10, and I saw them at the show for 90. So there's still the, I guess, almost the gouger mindset to take advantage, but you know, it's a desirable commodity right now.
I think it always will be.
Say it again.
I think it always will be.
I believe it will be as well. I real quick, I'd like to give a shout out to Captain Gringo. I'm thinking about you, man. But one time Gringo and I were speaking, and he really, I think I mentioned this a few shows back, but it's really, like, I think, kind of become more apparent to me in the past couple weeks of whatever's going on in the world, and especially in the United States, that firearms are going to be the item that draws the line. And you know, we look at, like, what goes on with Trump right now, and so let's see, he's flip-flopped on the wall. You know, there's going to be a wall, there's not going to be a wall, whatever. He kind of flip-flopped on the health care. You know, he's not going to destroy all of Obamacare now. And today he's flip-flopped on Hillary and, you know, lock her up. Also, he appears to be draining the swamp right into his cabinet. So, you know, really the last promise he has to flip-flop on that he made during the campaigns is to not mess with the Second Amendment. And maybe Trump is just a gigantic test to see how far the voter will go. You know, his supporters will go. And I think it's more than just his supporters. What I mean by his supporters is the people who have to get up and, you know, be to work at 7:00 in the morning. You know, that went to his rally the night before. And it's, I think it's a test for for them to roll out the robot killing machines to put the people in check. I mean, there's a lot of shit that's popping off right now, right? And I mean, in a big way, that, like, if it actually got any kind of media coverage instead of fucking 200 neo-Nazis or whatever that went and had lunch at some place in D.C. that is now the fucking topic that won't die. But yeah, I mean, the Pizzagate, the pedophile thing, this is insane. I mean, I can't even speak to it, like, logically or adequately, because it's just depraved. I mean, once you start getting on the topic, it's so true that it's, oh my God, you know exactly how far this goes, because every time something happens, it's a link to somebody else that's doing the exact same thing. Well, you know, between the cries for the neo-Nazi alt-right, you know, disarm those fools, they're the enemy, to the race war and the pushing of the fake news meme by CNN. Yeah, or actually not only by CNN, the entire news media.
Is this talk about him taking the media in and giving them the old scolding, is that actually accurate?
You know, I'd highly doubt it, to be honest with you. I'd be very, very. I think it's a show, man. I really think it's a bunch of bullshit. So
I think it's a fucking tennis match. And right now, the ball is over on the other side of the fucking net. And that guy's going to draw some heat from the referees for whatever the fuck he tries to do with the ball. And then, in a couple of years, it's going to be on the other side of the fucking net. And everybody will be looking at that motherfucker and what he's doing with the fucking ball. It's a fucking game to these guys.
I think it's gone beyond the game that it used to be, because we're in a different era now, right? I mean, there's a rapid dissemination of information, and the information is now penetrating into areas where it never penetrated before. To the point where CNN, who once had a 7-part in-depth study on the racism inherent to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, is pushing the meme of fake news, and you have to be careful where you get your news at. And it's like, are you guys on the fake news list by any means? I think that.
I think they're trying to give themselves credibility.
I think they're trying to start the spark. I think they're throwing sparks out all over the place, hoping it'll hit a plume of gas. I think they're trying to cause something to happen. I mean, all right, straight up.
They just gotta. Hey, you know what I should tell them? I should just email them and say, hey, hang out with that crazy Texan fucker. He'll catch on fire in no time.
Yeah, dude, he's good with that. Dude, I'm telling you, everything's all healed up from that, except for my earlobe is still kind of my right earlobe is. It's not healing. I think that's the side I sleep on, and it's just not. My earlobe is ugly, but whatever.
Ugly. all right.
But I mean, this whole racism and alt-right thing that they're pushing along with the fake news meme. Okay, so Brooke Baldwin, who is a very, very pretty news reader. I'm not going to call her, any kind of journalist or anything. She's just up there to, push the party line, so to speak. She had a guy on today who is not a Trump supporter, who is very, very anti-Trump and anti, whatever the right-wing alt-right thing is. And he was supposedly quoting somebody, and he said the N-word. And she flipped out. She totally flipped out and cut the interview short and went to commercial almost flustered. And I find that to be interesting, not in the guy's language or anything, but that it was her reaction to that in the message that they're trying to push, because he was pushing their message. He was talking about how evil Trump and all Trump's people, and I'm not behind Trump or anything. I just, he was different. And I think they've created another monster. And I really think it was intentional. I think all of this shit is intentional.
I kind of see it a little different. I see a bit of liability. Well, and trying to release themselves of that liability by doing the cutout maybe the way they did. Knowing that if you're presented with this situation, you better cut out of it in this direction, or we're going to get fucking sued and you're done. And so I think maybe they've trained a little bit in how to react to some of those situations. And right now we're going to see a lot of people, not people, I don't mean really entities. They're not actually people.
Right.
But people that work for those entities are going to be trying to release themselves of liability of racial and other things. It's not just racial shit.
No. I think it's far beyond. I think the racial aspect that they're pushing is the easiest to spark. I think it's the most ripe, and I think it's the one that they've been pushing probably the hardest for the last 5 years. but I don't know, man. It was kind of a weird moment, and I don't have good feelings about what's coming down the road.
I haven't seen the clip yet, so I really don't know. But
it was.
If I owned the station, I would be looking at the liability of having that stuff over, being put over the air.
Yeah, but in the end, just the N word is not. It pales like I'm looking at it like from a legal, like say from like a slander or a libel standpoint. That's nothing compared to like some of the things that they have been saying about, well, pretty much anybody that's, been a Trump selectee. And
right.
I mean, they're calling in like, relationships with their children and ex-wives. And
keep in mind, the racial thing has had it's got more footing. It's an easier card to play.
Well, I think so. And I mean, what was it? It was like maybe about a year and a half ago. CNN had a great big special, like which is better, or which is a more dangerous word? Is it the N word or is it cracker? And I think that was going on during the Trayvon trial. And well, I mean, obviously it's the one that you can't say on TV. I mean,
yeah, right.
if it's your whole premise of your show is which word is worse, and you don't say one of the words, I guess it's that one. I mean,
yeah. Do I win a prize like that early?
And then there's this like this meme about like hate crimes have like rocketed 700 times what they normally are. There's like 1,500 registered hate crimes since this is all the election has come down. And honestly, I think that's bullshit. I truly think that those hate crimes that they're claiming are happening because Trump came in and Trump supporters are doing. I think that's bullshit. I mean, look, we live in a society where if you leave a lesbian waitress a tip, or you write her a note that's either inadequate or it's a mean note or something, it's a 4-day national discussion and dialogue about how we have to live in harmony with our gay waitresses. If that's the kind of country we live in, some dudes in a Trump hat beating up lesbians would be like front page story. That would be it. But I mean, just like the woman who said she went into Home Depot and guys ripped off her hijab and like shamed her out of the store. It never happened. I just remember it that way. It was.
That's how she perceived it. She probably talked herself into being molested before she went in.
I don't know. How many Muslim women go to?
If I'm polite to a gal going in and out of a goddamn store, and she happens to be pretty, she can perceive it any goddamn way she wants. One, I'm a polite guy that's just opening the fucking door for her, or two, I'm fucking a creepo, lurking. I mean, come on, it could be, you talk yourself into how it is before you're ever there.
Perpetrating the rape culture and your misogyny by, using your manners.
Right. I know, I'm terrible. I am. And you ought to see the jealous women in town.
I so don't want to make like a joke about that.
No, don't you? I have this habit. I open everything for my wife, right? Everything. At the car door, the store door, she stands there and waits till it gets opened. And I'll tell you what, when some of them women that think that this whole women lip thing was great, they start seeing that happen, they have a whole nother tune about it.
See, but somebody will come out that you're actually like really oppressing your wife.
Right? Oh no, I'm suppressing her. Oh, absolutely, I'm suppressing her.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you're smothering her by not giving her the right to open up the door. You've taken that from her.
Right, I have. I did actually, and I'll admit it. I did actually do that. We had that conversation.
I believe that places you squarely in what is referred to as the basket of deplorables.
Oh, absolutely. I'm in it. I'm swimming. I got a paddle. I'm waiting for it to flush.
I got a few. I got a few in the hand.
You know the beauty. Hey, hold on. The beauty of this. My wife's a fucking logger. Okay. She can set choker and fucking limb a tree as good as any man standing.
So she can take care of herself.
Oh, absolutely, in a heartbeat.
So in reality, she doesn't need you to open the door for her.
Oh, I hope not. But
No.
I do it anyway.
See, you've just illustrated the idiocy of the argument. You know.
Yeah, I want to make that clear. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, listen. You know what we got to do? We got to do some firearm safety here.
It's kind of early, but you go for it.
Dude, we hit it whatever time I actually think of doing it. Just as long as I can. So, first rule is every firearm is loaded until you visually and physically inspect and ensure that it is not loaded. Rule number
every
2.
Single time, even if you were the last one that touched it.
Right. I mean, look, and don't let people pick up guns in your house or anything. That's just a bad move. Rule number 2.
Right.
Keep the gun.
Well, what I'm getting at is even if you were the last one to touch it, if you're coming up to that firearm fresh, it should always be checked.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. What does it take? A 7-year-old and he pulls the rack back and goes, "Oh shit, I did something." And he puts it down. Now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Last time you touched it, you thought it was unloaded or not racked. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep. Every time.
Rule number 2, keep the muzzle pointed in a safe direction. Don't cover anything you do not wish to destroy. Rule number 3, keep know what your target is and know what's beyond your target at all time. And the most important rule, please give it to me.
You keep the booger hook off the bang switch.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I don't think I could have said it better myself.
That's one of my boy Merle's favorite lines every time he picks it up.
That's cool, actually. That's kind of neat. That is kind of neat. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It actually makes me feel good. All right, so like, really, that's kind of like one of the main reasons behind like this show. Like, number one, I got pissy because I like no guns and like I can't even watch movies with guns in them because fuck, no, it doesn't happen like that, right? I mean, like shit like that just drives me nuts. But man, if I just get the chance to like maybe impress that on somebody, and I think I have, well, fuck, I feel a hell of a lot better. So thank
there you go.
Yeah, I really appreciate him like taking that to heart because man, all it takes is just one heartwarming and tear-jerking story about, you know, little Johnny Numbnuts picking up the gun and shooting his brother, and oh fuck, it's the rush again. You know, good luck finding 22.
Right.
And I guess that makes me a shitty guy for not actually thinking of the kid, but fuck, you know.
Could be anywhere, anytime.
So Black Friday is coming up, and I did see a kind of an interesting report out of I believe it was KSIX, which is apparently a Channel 11. They showed that firearm sales right now are being led by women purchasers, and it kind of went into some interesting stats about firearm stocks. Most specifically Ruger and Smith and Wesson, and was trying to give this impression that the market is dying because the stocks were down after Trump's election. And I find it to be kind of more of the disinfo because in the weeks prior to Trump's election, those stocks went like record high. And they didn't necessarily drop to like an all-time low after this. They're just down a little bit. So I get tired. I get tired of the media assault on it, and man, I just got to say something back to them, you know. I don't know if I lost you.
No, I'm right here. I'm right here.
So yeah, so I mean, like, I just get burnt by that, and I think you handle it better. You don't get like sucked into the media's frenzy like I do. I'm telling you that the CNN.
You know what? You know how I'm able to look past a lot of this. I've done a lot of research and personal development and marketing, and none of it surprises me. It's all marketing tactics, and we're always going to see that. It's it was developed during the Freud and his brother-in-law. I think it was his brother-in-law. It might have been his cousin. Yeah, maybe it was his cousin. Where they knew what triggers the human mind in order to get them to want to spend money, want to have the different things that are out there. And if the marketing can coincide with, like, say, wholesaling and retail, there's a chance to hit a market at a certain time, and they have to risk, like you're saying, the proof kind of went out of it. And that's one of the times they missed. And they're still going to try and, recover whatever they can.
Well, I think the proof is out of it for much of it, because, I mean, they keep pushing the same talking points over and over again, trying to make this invisible mess happen. And shit, man, I hope everybody who is listening has a decent way to defend themselves repeatedly, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I think if you do not have a firearm, now is the perfect time. There's going to be a few.
I don't know. I'm thinking spring is going to be. There's going to be a lot better market on guns in the spring.
Honestly, I would kind of tend to disagree with you, because I'm going to look at this from the financial aspect, and they're talking about right now, and reputable sources right now are talking about. I think it's a half percentage point raise in the interest rates come the meeting in December of the Fed. And then there's another meeting of the Fed in March. And if they come up this time, that they're almost certainly going to go up again in March. And I have a feeling that that's going to suck out a lot of the available cash in the market, the spending cash. And I think the demand will be there.
That's what'll drive the prices down.
Man, I don't know.
The lack of cash will drive the price down. I mean, they're going to try and get whatever they can out of them, especially the used market. I think the used market will go down a bit in the spring. I really do.
I don't think the used market's going to go down.
If Hillary was in there, I would be saying the exact fucking opposite. There'd be no fucking sky would be the goddamn limit for the next 2 years.
If Hillary was in office, those if Hillary would have won, those $600 SKSs would have been $1,300.
Oh yeah. I'd be looking at selling my 54.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mosin Nagant, we're going for $350.
Right.
And it wasn't any kind of special Mosin Nagant. It was, probably later on, later manufactured in the war, or even maybe after the war. And they were $350. I did get a chance to put my hands on a Knick pistol. Have you seen those? It's a 9mm that almost has like a Walther look to it. They're made in Turkey, and I think they come with 3 magazines, and it's a fairly updated pistol, and it felt nice in my hand. I couldn't squeeze the trigger or anything on it, but the price was right. Those things were going out the door for $285.
Huh. In the 9?
And it's 9, and I believe it held 17 in the magazine. And the Knick EP9.
That's something with purse or in the glove box or in the bitch box.
I think so. I think that's probably, if you've got the funds, I think that's probably a much better buy than something like a High Point.
Right. Well, $300. You got 3 magazines and a fresh sidearm. Be able to put that in a big box.
From what I understand, the design team behind the Knick pistol, which are they're made in Turkey, but it's actually a German and Swiss employees of both of Glock and of SIG that went to work on this pistol. And I don't know if it actually has anything to do with the Walther. It looks very, very similar to the Walther, but it works nice. Something I did see, which I would never, ever buy, but they're so cool looking, is the Taurus CT40 carbine. Have you ever seen one of those?
No, I don't think I have.
It's a fairly interesting semi-automatic carbine, kind of along the lines of like that Beretta, the Beretta Storm carbine, except for this doesn't have the magazine that goes into the pistol grip. The magazine goes forward of the trigger group, kind of like in that, MP5 style. They look really, really cool, but from what I understand, they are dangerous. Like they can discharge on the slightest bump. It's once again, it's another ding on Taurus quality, and but it's one of their later items. But I've never actually seen one in person, and there was one at the show. Tell you
I'm just not familiar with them.
Yeah, they're sort of interesting. They're I believe the Brazilian police use them, Brazilian army, something like that. I've seen them in like videos of the recent stuff that's going on in Rio de Janeiro, and which they shot down a police helicopter in Rio.
Isn't that where they got them goofy motorcycle cops on dirt bikes?
Right. Yeah. Motorcycle cops on dirt bikes that ride up and shoot people like crazy, and it's always on video.
Yeah. That looked like a riot, man. Where do I get that fucking job?
I think you got to speak Portuguese first.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I've seen
a while.
I've seen a couple of videos on the violence that happens in Brazil, and remember, they have gun control, like seriously restrictive gun control.
Yeah, it looked like they did too.
And I think Brazil's like a perfect study in gun control because, well, half the time you see somebody getting shot, it's with a homemade firearm of some kind.
Right. And here's the deal: if there's gun control like that, and you got a gun, you better fucking use it.
I kind of have a feeling that you're absolutely correct, because the penalty for getting caught with it is far beyond.
Right. You're in. You're all in. Go for it.
And it's not. And look, I mean, like the home firearms construction. At least here it's legal. You can construct a firearm. You can construct it and not sell it. You can make it for your own use as long as it's legal. But I mean, it's as simple as making putting two pipes together with a cap and a nail through one of them, and boom, you've got yourself a slam fire shotgun for, you go to Home Depot and spend $20 and you probably make 6 of them. And, 12 gauge is deadly, whether it comes out of a pipe or it comes out of a, $1,400 funky shotgun.
Or if it's attached to a rat trap.
It could be, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of those that I'm seeing.
Tied to a tree with a fishing line on the trigger.
Right, and I mean that you're seeing lots of things like that coming out of Brazil, and then you also see some things that are just a little more labor intensive and higher quality stuff. But wow. I think that's it. That's the music. So, hey, listen, thank you, Mr. X.
Hey, you know what? It's time to do a dab.
Good for you. Lucky you. All right. Everybody, thank you for listening up. Got to give props to Jules. He's working damn hard for us. So, everybody, stick around. UCY TV's got excellent programming for the rest of the night. Thanks for being here. And Nick, drive safe, and best wishes, Captain Gringo.